Okay, this is exciting. This is a very important lesson because what we've been learning up to this point are some basic structure, syntax, ways of doing tags, style tags, rules, selectors, etc. All really important. But what we're about to talk about is how we can take those style sheets and have them apply to multiple pages at once up till this point. And that's really important in terms of designing web pages, designing websites that have potentially hundreds of web pages, in the same way that if we can not have to type font equals Arial on every element of the website, that saves us a lot of time by using style sheets. What we're going to be doing today is learning how to do what's called an external style sheet that can apply to multiple web pages. So what we've been doing up till this point is what is called an internal style sheet, and that's what we do here by saying style and putting our rules within the page itself. But today I'm going to show you what an external style sheet looks like. It'll be very easy for you to create because you're using all the same tags. You're just putting it in a different place. And then I'll show you how that can really have a major impact. And we're going to play around with this a little bit more because of the way you guys work. You're working within my editor. We don't really create our own individual pages. We sort of save the code in the database and have it spin out. But we're going to play around with this as we learn more and more codes. I'm going to have you be doing it on a notepad the way we did it in that bonus lesson from HTML 101, where you can save your code in a notepad, and that way you can have multiple pages referencing the same style sheet. Okay, that's all enough about the future. Here's what we're going to be doing. So here's your code. I've given 3 sample external style sheets, and you're going to take a look at those, and then you're going to copy the code in your editor. But let's take a look at what a style sheet, external style sheet looks like. So I'm going to click on this. This is going to open in a new browser window. So just keep an eye out when you do it. You might have to search for it a little bit if you have a bunch of browser windows open. So I'm going to open up style sheet 1. Let me minimize that, get that a little smaller so it shows up here. All right, so this is style sheet, and as you can see, there's the code. This is not an HTML page. This is a .css, which is cascading style sheets, and I'll talk to what that means in a second. But you can see here we have a rule for body, a rule for H1, a rule for paragraph, and then we have a custom tag called author. And in here you have background colors, font family, font size, all the same stuff that we've done in the past. That said, one thing that you may not have done yet is use some cool color names. Up till this point we've used red, blue, green, and that sort of thing. But there are lots and lots of colors. In fact, you have access to every color available through using some color blending codes. We're not going to worry about the color blending codes right now, but there's a long list of names that you can use that HTML, the browser, recognizes and can serve up. So here are some: linen, olive drab, maroon, navy. Wouldn't it be great, Mr. O'Leary, if you could give us a list like that? Well, funny you should say that, because I'm going to do that. I've added here to the site, you may have this by now, this color picker. And this just gives you, if you click on it, it will open here as you see. Again, it just popped open this browser, and you can go in here and take a look at all the colors that are available, and then here is what it looks like. So here's the name, Azure, and that's what it looks like. Black looks like this. Blue violet looks like this. Don't worry so much about hexadecimal value. That's something that we'll deal with a little bit later, but that's cool. That's something that you'll be working with as well. All right? So let's go back to the style sheet. And that's sample 1. Now then, let's take a look at sample 2. So you can see here I changed a bunch of things, but same rules, same selectors, just different attributes or different declarations for each. And then I have a sample 3. Okay? So let's go back to our lesson. And you can see here that what I want you to do is I want you to first open up each one of those so you can see the codes. Then I want you to copy the sample code into your editor. So we're going to go into sample code, and we're going to grab this, and I'm just going to have you copy it into your editor. Okay, so what does this mean? Same code here. You'll notice there's no style sheet in here, but I do have tags for body and H1, Gettysburg Address, P for paragraph tag, and then I have my div tag with a class of author. Okay, now right now, if I show web page here, let me delete this and click show web page. Well, this is what I see. Even though I put a class in here, it just ignores it. It doesn't know what the class is because I don't have any tags. But look what happens. I can link to an external style sheet. I'm saying rel equals style sheet. So I'm telling it what I'm going to be grabbing. href equals sample1.css. Type is a text/CSS file. So just learn this or copy this whenever you need to. This is a link to the external style sheet. The only thing that you're really going to have to change is what's the style sheet that you're linking to. So right now, I'm linking to sample1 CSS. Remember, we looked at the code there. Well, let's take a look at what that does. So I have a background color. I have the, I think that's olive drab header. I have a Courier font, and I have Abraham Lincoln in impact and blue to the left or to the right. So let's take a look at that so we can see. If I open sample 1, I'm going to move to a new window so I can see that side by side. So you can see here, this is the code that I'm using right now. Body, background is linen. H1 is Times New Roman. Olive drab, 30 pixels. So you can see all of this stuff is represented here. That's great. Now, if I go and edit, if I change that to sample 2, now I don't have to, all I have to do, I don't have to put any tags in here, I don't have to change anything. All I had to do is link to a different style sheet. Okay, so I got bigger font, different colors. Abraham Lincoln's left aligned instead of right aligned. Everything's different here. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so in this case, I do a different background. Oh, wait, that's sample 1. Let me just change that. I think I'm doing sample 2. So I used Peach Puff, if you can believe it, as my body color. And then I used, well, that doesn't look like Comic Sans. Saddle Brown. So I may not have used the right font family there. But Georgia here. Oops. Georgia here. And then I did text align left. All right. So now, if I change this to sample 3, looks completely different. And you can go in yourself and take a look at that to see what that looks like. So what I want you to do, you've already copied the sample code. I want you to go in, after you copy the sample code in your editor, I want you to go in and just, all I want you to do is switch and change the name so that you can look at it. Okay? Now, after you've done that, you've completed the lesson, but I got an extra credit thing for you. Why is it called a cascading style sheet? Because you might have a style sheet that the whole website uses, and every web page references that style sheet right here. But you, on this one particular page, you want to have something different. So let's say that here we want to have, instead of, we're using sample 3, which does whatever color it does, but in this one we want the Gettysburg Address, instead of it being whatever that's using, we want it to be different on this one particular page. So what we're going to do is set up our own style sheet, and this is again an internal style sheet, and we're going to do H1 colon or curly Q, And let's just say that we want the font color here to be, let's look at our color picker. Let's say we want it to be chartreuse. That's a good name. So now we want the color to be chartreuse. Okay? Is it font color? I think it's just color. So we do color is chartreuse. And now what's going to happen is the browser is going to first look here and use all of these rules. But if there's something below it, then it will cascade and it will accept this rule here. Cascade's kind of like a wave falling downward, so it's going to take the top level rule and then it'll take the external style sheet first, but then it will replace the same tag with whatever's on the internal style sheet. Okay, so it cascades upwards or cascades downwards, however you want, but the internal style sheet will supplant the external style sheet if it is below it. So now I'm going to click Save Work, Show Web Page. You can see I changed it to chartreuse, and that's that. That's the end of that lesson, but this is going to be valuable. You're going to use external style sheets all of the time. We're going to use internal style sheets a lot here because we want to practice writing the code within one page. It's just easier. But if you ever have multiple pages and you want them to look the same, then you're going to want to have external style sheets. And what this page, any website you have defines its style, how everything is organized in one external style sheet, and then it links to that throughout the entire website. So this is a big step forward in terms of your understanding about how to design look and feel of a web page or website.